there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. 3 league losses in a row, and now we go to the Etihad. Got some great guests on today. Let me introduce them all. Brian, first off. How you doing, Brian?
I am doing good, brother. I am doing very, very good, mate. Enjoying my time here. The big man, Bob Spur, is getting better and better, which is all that I care about. And everything is good apart from the football team. So everything is like skittle and rainbows in one half and the exact opposite in another. So yeah, but all good. It's good to be back on the channel, Chris. It's been too long.
Always great having you on. Orin as well. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, no problem. And Tommy, how's things?
I'm good. I feel weirdly optimistic about tomorrow. I'm sure we'll get onto it.
Right, you're going to be in the minority here then, possibly. And then lastly, Stel, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Went outside, nearly lost my head, nearly got blown off by the wind, came back inside, and then came on your show and remembered that I'm doing the watch along for We Are Tottenham TV tomorrow, which I regret agreeing to.
They're the guests, great guests, always welcome on, and thanks so much for coming on. They've all got channels themselves. We'll go through that at the end of the stream, but if you wanted to look at them now, they're all in the description. A few people in the chat as well. Anyone in the chat, thank you so much. Everyone watching, thank you so much. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. It really helps. On 187 subscribers at the moment, so it'd be nice if I can get 200 before the end of the game on Saturday. So we've got Kirsten in the chat. How you doing?
Mark Swift. I met her for the first time on Wednesday, one of the days with Tim.
Oh,
yeah, she came down. I got to meet Kirsten. What a absolute darling that woman is. She really, really is. It was great seeing her.
Yeah, and Mark Swift, I'm not sure how he knows it's more windy today than Brian after a curry, but apparently that's the case.
Yeah.
Gugamar, Ryan McFarland, Nick Collison, Tommy.
Is Nick Collison Barry?
Yeah, Nick Barry, Sean Grant, Phil, Arthur, Frank, all the EastEnders characters. That's
right.
Nick.
Okay.
Nick Collison, Gugamar again. Tottenham Tantrum Gold. How you doing, guys? And Nick doing my job for me. Let's push us to 200. So we'll start off, Brian, with. We'll start off, Brian. We won't talk about the game first off. We'll talk about Conte's interview. What did you make of that? Just as a kind of a snapshot.
So we're starting with the easy stuff. Are we? Let's do it. Do you know what? I've actually taken a back step on this, and I actually think this interview, I've called it the crown jewel. And the reason I've called it the crown jewel is if you look at Tottenham Hotspur, okay, now I've gone on about before about Levy out and why and different time zones and what has gone on in that time. I just want to take a trip down memory lane with Tottenham Hotspur for the last 9 days. 9 days, with today being the 9th. In 9 days, we've had a pathetic defeat to Southampton. The next day, the Y word chant, palaver came out. We then had the Wolves game, equally shocking, if not more shocking than Southampton. The next day, the Wolves. The Y word thing again on Sky Sports and everything, and blew up. Then a few days later, we announced our pre-season tour of South Korea. Brilliant. Let's announce that 5 months early. And then this interview. In 9 days, 6 bad things have happened. 2 of them being results. And you can fault the performance, but you lose. But in 9 days, 6 bad things have happened. And there's been this interview with Conte is the crown. When I say the crown jewel, this is the one that everyone has linked onto. And everyone is swimming and feeding around, whether it be the media, social media, us YouTubers, the people in the comments, football journalists. This is the one they've really... Now, I personally, whether it's taken out of context or not, I'm happy with what he said. I am happy that he's done this, because when we had Pochettino came out and said the famous quote about the house and furniture. That didn't kind of work and was moved on. Then Mourinho came out, and when he got the first interview, when he did it on Spurs TV, said, I think we can do great things with this squad. I've assessed this squad and I'm happy with the squad, and I think we can do things Obviously, that didn't happen. And now Conte's come out, and we knew it when Conte came. Wherever you were on any kind of spectrum as a Spurs fan or board, whatever, everyone said, right, this is the manager. This is the one where we find out what is going on, because he will call it, he will say it, he will not be backwards in coming forwards. And he has said something, and it's been in ways taken out of context. But I'm happy a manager is finally coming out and speaking what is going on. And if that's how he feels, who am I to say you're wrong? You're. I think it's time that we start having these. I think, unfortunately, it's going to be the first interview of many building up to the summer as kind of warning shots to say, right, this summer's huge, to keep the summer is huge going, but with some actual momentum. So I understand why some people are taking it the other way. But I'm all for a manager coming out and telling it as it is.
Yeah. What do you think, Orin? What was your reaction to the interview and the comments made?
Well, it was a lot. He said a lot, and obviously, like for me, it seems that since Conte has arrived, you would think that Conte's been in charge of Spurs for 3 years, and he hasn't got the players in those 3 years the way he's carrying on. He's almost kind of like, I know more than everyone here because I've won something. That it's almost come off as arrogant. It's like, I'm better than everyone at the club. I'm better than the board. I'm just the elite. So I'll say whatever I want to say. Yes, Jose Mourinho said the same thing, but the media picked it up on the narrative that he was throwing the club under the bus, throwing the players under the bus. He does it at every club. So what Conte is saying, and it's the real interesting part that what Conte said was, Spurs let 3 important players go. That's what he said. And we brought in 2. Never in my right mind did I think that those 3 or 4 important players leave the club. And it's like, right, okay. So Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli were all excluded from the team, never given run of games, but yet they were important. It just seems to me like Conte is like, okay, we've had 3 losses. I'm not going to take any bit of responsibility. It's the board. It's the players. Because I'm elite. I'm a god. I can't do anything wrong. And I just feel like what he's saying, he's playing to the ears of the Levite and Enoch out. He's playing to their ears. He's singing the song for them. And it's kind of like, what good does it do for the players? Because, the players are hearing that they're not good enough. So what good does it do? So he wants to have a winning mentality, but plays a system that hasn't won in 3 games. So I just look at it and take a bit and think Conte's a bit of a contradicting himself. He said one thing, but then doing the other. So the interview, I think, was just kind of, let's blame the board, let's blame players, let's blame everyone else, and because I'm a good guy. That's what it is. It's, as long as he's looking good, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we've had so many managers for so long that are kind of not yes men, but just do what Levy says. I think it's quite good that someone's come out and challenging him. But just breaking from this for a second, Bob Spur on the chats again. How you doing, Bob? Great to see you.
Superman.
Great to see you doing well. Who says good looks, class and panache is needed for a great stream?
Here
You
he is.
guys are proof it's a myth. Big love, peeps. It's great to see after all this time. Bob Spur's not lost his sense of humour. A few more chats. Nick Collison laughed at what he said there. But yeah, Tommy, in terms of Conte, Kirsty's put a comment in here. He's not arrogant. He knows what's best for us. We haven't got nowhere so far. Back Conte. I mean, what do you make of his comments? Do you think it's an arrogant thing and looking after himself, or do you think he's saying what needs to be said? Where do you stand on all of that?
Who are you talking
Well,
to?
I
Chris?
mean,
Tommy, sorry, yeah.
looking at the transfer window in itself, it was the
this
normal
comment
Levy.
from Ryan as well is he's elite, earned the right to speak this way. Spurs are stale, and he sees that. Sorry, cut you off there.
Yeah, so he has to be accountable to a certain degree. I don't care if you're Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't care who you are. You still get judged by decisions as a manager, tactical decisions, who you put on the pitch, who you substitute in, who you take off. So I do agree. I agree on the other side of things that a manager still has to be accountable. But Levy has done what he always does in the January window. Rumours. All the business done in the last 2 days. All the business, ins and outs. Like, I was shocked when all three centre midfields, number 10s, whatever you want to call them, left in the last 2 days of the window. In fact, I didn't really want this to go, because what we could see was that 3-5-2 was the formation. That they were winning games. We were winning games in a 3-5-2. And the transfer window did not back that up. We lost players, 3 of them centre mids, attacking mids. We brought 1 in. Ben Tanker looks very good. So since then, we've forced the windows closed. The 3 formations we played, Brighton, Wolves, and Southampton, have been 3-4-3. We're forced to play a 3-4-3, and that ultimately is a failure in the window, because I don't think we're getting anywhere in a 3-4-3. I really don't, like we saw against Southampton and Wolves. So, but the interview itself, it wasn't even a knee-jerk reaction from Conte. We've seen him throw little things in to his interviews. If you watch his post-match interviews, he always throws something in there. Like, you've got Levy's got a, right at the end, there's always something he throws in there. Like there's something missing in this team. We might need reinforcements. There are always little things. So it's not just a knee-jerk reaction. Even if it was, the window has been a travesty as far as I'm concerned. Because I can't see it getting a lot better from here unless we keep 4 centre mids fit for the entirety for the rest of this season. Then we could potentially play 3-5-2. But he still has to be accountable to a certain degree. He doesn't just get a clean slate and says, "Oh, look, my CV is fantastic. I can do no wrong." But it'll be interesting. And look, the bread and butter's on the pitch. So interview's an interview. Bread and butter's on the football pitch. Hopefully, we can do something tomorrow.
Yeah, Kirst agrees. Wouldn't call him arrogant though for feeling the way he does. We have got to get top 4 with him. We'll come back to that in a bit. And the team we've got, we saw against Liverpool, we do have it in us. We'll come back to that. And Daryl Denton's then said, how you doing, Daryl? Beating City, you need to put a laughing emoji there. We'll just give Levy the excuse that the players are good enough. I don't want that rolling into the summer. But still, in terms of Conte's comments, what was your reaction to it? Were you pleased that he's not stood up to Levy, but kind of questioned Levy? Or do you think he's looking after himself and being a bit arrogant there? In terms of the transfers, I thought it had his fingerprints all over it, getting out certainly 2 with Dele and Ndombele, who looked like bad eggs in the dressing room, and then bringing in 2. But obviously, we then let a couple of others go as well. So what were your thoughts on his comments in the interview?
Are we allowed to swear on your channel?
Yeah, it's gone past.
You can. 13 minutes is 13 minutes.
Okay. The owners of Tottenham Hotspur are fucking idiots. Absolute fucking idiots. Please, everyone, go to Tottenham Away, not to promote my channel, but just to see the video Iggy has made on the entire Antonio Conte, the interviews he's done, right? Iggy's Italian. He's translated word for word in the cultural context of an Italian as to what Conte was saying. Do not listen to Levy in sympathisers and Enoch in sympathisers trying to create this narrative. And Orin, I'm not having a dig at you personally. You mentioned the Levy outlot, so this is my rebuttal. When he talks about unhappy with, shocked by players that left, he's talking about the numbers. He's saying that he's shocked that 4 went out and only 2 came in. And when he says the lack of quality, the cultural reference in which he's talking about in his language is that clearly if you let 4 go and only 2 come in, you are weaker in squad numbers. And he did mention the numbers of the squad.
What I said at the training ground still.
Right, well, but if you listen to a lot of other people, they'll create this, oh, he's arrogant. Oh, look at him. No, he's being honest. He's being brutally honest, okay? So that's the first thing. Regarding, this conversation of formations, 3-4-3s and 3-5-2s, I'm now not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying, as someone that's been coaching for many, 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 many years, I can tell you now, after watching Conte's teams for a good 2 months, having done tactical shows on this, the number one problem at Tottenham has got nothing to do with formations. Formations mean nothing unless players can play the formation. It's a quality issue. We have a quality problem at Tottenham. It's the same problem that under Mourinho's formation, Ryan Mason's formation, Nuno's formation, Conte's formation, Poch's formation has failed. This isn't a formation issue. This is a quality issue. Yes, maybe another formation makes us a bit more stable, but it's not going to make us better and win more games. He played 3 different formations against Chelsea each time we played them. We got fucking battered in each game. We hardly laid a glove on them in each game. We played 4 at the back, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, 3 midfield, 4 in midfield. It doesn't matter. The quality is the biggest problem. And you know the owners are fucking idiots, because after Antonio Conte made his comments, they came out and said they're shocked by the comments made. Do you not know what manager you've signed? Right? And we can go back. You signed Mourinho, a checkbook manager, but you didn't open up the checkbook for the checkbook manager. You don't understand what type of manager you're signing. You then give the job to someone with no experience. You lose the Carabao Cup final. You don't get top 4. Do you understand what kind of manager you put in charge to get you that? Then you come out and tell the world, we want free-flowing, attacking football the Tottenham way. We want to bring back the kind of football we want to see. So you bring in a pragmatic director of football and you sign a pragmatic coach in Nuno, and it all goes tits up. They don't have a fucking clue what kind of managers they're bringing to this club. And then you bring in Conte, who has got a history at Chelsea, who he sued, by the way, Juventus and Inter, of calling out the board when he doesn't get what he wants. Now he's calling out the board because he didn't get what he wants, and they're shocked. I'm sorry. I'm not listening to these constant excuses that I've had to endure for years and years and years and years. Chris, I've had enough. I've been patient. I've toed the line. Enough is enough. I'm glad we've got a manager who's honest. I'm glad we've got a manager who will stir it up. And I'm glad we've now got a manager that's going to start causing the kind of disturbance needed to force change at the top of this club. More Conte, please.
Yeah.
I have to say as well, just before we go on, just very quickly about what Stel said earlier on.
By the way, it's just difference of opinions, that's all.
So it's just literally, I have to echo what Stel said about Iggy. Iggy, to me, is gospel when it comes to Italian football, not just because of Conte, even before Conte was a thing and Paratici was a thing. If you want to know anything about Italian football, spoken and translated correctly, and the context it was meant to be delivered in, and a real insight into what goes on with not just Italian football, but Italian players anywhere. Honestly, if Iggy tells me tomorrow is Sunday and Italian, I believe him. That's how gospel he is when it comes to it. He's phenomenal. So,
Brian, just so people know, because they might not know who Iggy is, he's actually a regular on the official AC Milan channel. Not the fan channel, the club channel. That's how much they like what he says and stuff. So he's not God, but he knows a hell of a lot more than us.
Oh, when it comes to Italian football, he is, mate. When we look at all of us in the YouTube community within Tottenham, he's right up there. No, he is the go-to guy.
For us,
and a top bloke.
Yeah. It can come across as arrogant. So I get what Orin's saying, and if it is arrogant, I think he's earned the right, Conte, to be arrogant in the same way that Alex Ferguson was super arrogant. You know, the whole "come on lads, it's Tottenham." He's earned the right to be able to do that, and Conte, like Stel said, has done it at every club he's been at, just calling out the board if he's not happy. But yeah, the summer is still the huge one for me. Yeah, we have to do stuff in the summer, otherwise it's just going to be same old. But let's go on to City. It's a stupid question, but I know Tommy is a yes to this. But any chance of an upset against City? And I want to come to a comment.
Not winning, a point.
That would be an upset. Anything less than 3-0 is an upset. I want to come to a comment from Bobster here. Totally back Conte, but I expect more from my manager, the highest paid, by the way. I expect him to sort it in-house. And this is the point that I want to get to, and motivate the players. I keep saying every game, we've got to go the first 50-50, get into them, show them they're in for a game. We haven't done that for a long, long while. You do that, Man City, they're going to kill us. So, Orin, Any chance of an upset for you, or do you think it'll be the same? And for me, if we don't go at them like we did in the first game, particularly Tanganga, who put Sterling off his game, Grealish went over. It might have been the other way around. And then they didn't want to know. They didn't get the ball anymore. And that then translated through the rest of the team, skipped it after a poor first 15 minutes. But that's the way we have to play. But we haven't seen that. So any chance of an upset for you? And how do we get that upset if it were to happen?
I think if Conte plays 3-4-3, there's no chance. Absolutely none. Southampton and Wolves was able to bypass the midfield. Kevin De Bruyne and the Man City players will just have a fun day. I think Conte has to start with maybe a more solid midfield. Do you think possibly a draw? But I could see probably the way it was a couple of last season, where Spurs beat City 2-1 and then City beat them 3-0 at the stadium. So I think it'll probably be that outcome. It depends, because we all know. I mean, that's the thing. I should have added on. I don't want to take up the whole stream, but everything Conte says, we've all known. He's meant to be the manager to change that mentality. So for me, when I say he's arrogant, it's kind of okay, you can blame everyone else, but why did he play 3 systems that clearly wasn't working? So what are you doing? And that's what I mean, because you can moan. We can all moan. Spurs aren't good enough. The board didn't buy this. The board didn't do this. It's irrelevant, because it's about what's happening now, what's happening in the pitch. So doesn't matter if Levy didn't do this or didn't do that. No, because tomorrow is what matters. The game tomorrow is what matters. And so Conte is kind of if we don't win, it's not my fault. So I'll just play whatever formation I want. So I just think if he plays a formation that is set up to contain the midfield, Son and Kane up top, Spurs have a chance. But if he goes for that 3-4-3 that he keeps going to, there's no chance. And I've said this from the start. You either go 3-5-2 or you go or you make it forward to back. Forget the wing back idea, because for me it's as great managers, for me, they can adapt. They can adapt to the circumstances. There's no point moaning and complaining about players that he doesn't have, or summer times, or the board isn't doing this. Who cares? It's what can you do now? If I gave you a couple of eggs and say make me an omelette, and you say I need four eggs, but you only have 3, what are you going to do? Not make one? Of course you're going to make one. So that's what I mean. I just think that Conte, I wish that Conte could just shut up, not give press interviews, and just focus on getting the team playing and getting them right. And that's the way. But it seems to me it's oh, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. He's just feeding the narrative and the negative ego. So to me, it's how do you create a winning mentality when you have players who aren't confident?
Do you think he's got a point, though? He did say in the interview, maybe it was this interview, maybe another one, but Kulusevski, Bentancur, Tottenham players, I'm paraphrasing here, kind of for the future, not players for the now, and that's the problem. At Chelsea, at Inter, he kind of certainly at Chelsea, bought ready-made players. That's not our model, if you like, which Dele Alli under Poch was obviously one for the future, be accelerated there straight into Poch's team. We don't need to talk about how he's done recently. Yeah. So do you think it's more of a question for the board to change the mentality? And if they don't, then why are you bringing a manager in who adopts that mentality?
Yeah. So basically, it's out there that, Spurs brought a manager in. But Conte signed a contract. He knew what Spurs were about. It's not like he didn't know. It's not like he crawled out of a rock and go, oh, Spurs, he knew exactly the model. He always said it. Even at Chelsea, he said, what was his famous words? At Chelsea, you're expected to win a trophy. At Spurs, it's a hope. So it's not like he didn't know what he was signing up for. So he knew what he was signing up for. And as for the transfers, I get what he was saying, but at the same time, he could have stopped. He could have said, no, I want this player and this player to stay until the summer. So he could have, so that's what I mean. He's not like Party should have went to him. And the 4 players that left, especially the last 3, majority of Spurs fans wanted them out. Lo Celso, Dele Alli, and Ndombele, everyone wanted them out. So it's difficult to get players in January. We all know that kind of thing, and Spurs have to make space. But if Conte looked at that team and went, no, I want to try and keep Lo Celso and Dele until the summertime, he could have, but he didn't. Now he'd have left. He said it was a good transfer the day it is, and now he's moaning about it. So I'm just thinking, it's like, what message is that sending to the Spurs players?
Orin, you left a big part of that out. Yes, we wanted them out, but we wanted them out to clear money on the wage bill, to clear space in the team, to bring players in. It won't just get them out and don't.
Yes, I understand that, but bringing players in, we all know it's difficult to bring players in at Spurs. And you could say it's Levy, you can say it's whatever you want. The truth of the matter is, top players don't want to come to Spurs, and they're not going to come to Spurs in the space of 30 days. And that's just the truth.
Romero came
in the summer.
Yeah, but he came to Spurs.
Yeah, but if you look at Romero, he wasn't like he went on loan to Atlanta. He was loaned out to Atlanta, and he was meant to play Juventus. So he wasn't good enough to play for Juventus.
He was
so
Serie
he went
A
to
Defender
Atlanta.
of the Year.
Yeah, yes, but he played for Atlanta.
But he
so
came to Spurs, he was the best defender in Italy.
Yes, in Italy. And I'm not saying but if you look at Romero, he has been sent off. He's not the finished article yet. We all know that. It's potential. He can be potentially good. If he was a top player, more clubs would have came for him, like Man City or Liverpool. We also what happened with Ruben Diaz. Top players don't want to come to Spurs.
Or maybe we focused our energy on making sure we got him, and we did, because we were
top players don't
getting him.
Top players don't want to come to Spurs.
So Italian Defender of the Year isn't a top player.
I've
got to disagree with you. I've got to disagree with you a bit still, because
top
if
players
Chelsea,
don't want to come.
If Chelsea, Man United, if they didn't go for Chelsea, were in for Kunde, right? Chelsea were in for Kunde. They focused completely on Kunde. They didn't get him. Man United wanted Varane. Liverpool bought Conte just as the window opened. Bayern Munich bought Upamenko from Leipzig. Juventus can't buy their own player because he's on loan there. The rest of Italy can't afford players. Man City had 3 quality centre-backs the season before, Diaz, Stones, and Diaz, Stones? Who's the other one? Diaz, Stones? Laporte. PSG signed Ramos. Barcelona and Real Madrid had no money. So the Romero deal wasn't brilliant by Paratici or Levy anyway, for me. It was, Serie A Defender of the Year, but, Atalanta. We're going to double, triple his wages from Atalanta. Atalanta have to be a selling club. That's the way it is. So I don't think the Romero signing was, I don't think it's a good barometer of players that want to come.
But Van Dijk was an exceptional defender. Liverpool tripled his wages. He went to Liverpool. So he was an exceptional defender. They just went in for him and decided, let's get this guy in before someone else does. So I don't buy that.
Before Van Dijk went
from Southampton.
Before Van Dijk went,
Real Madrid bought Gareth Bale from Tottenham. Tottenham are shit, but good.
Yeah,
but other top clubs.
Yes, but Tottenham.
Did we believe? Did we believe that we were going to get Vlahovic and Diaz? Was there any chance?
Right,
Did you think
Diaz,
there was any chance?
I knew we weren't going to pay the money.
Diaz.
I knew we weren't going to pay the money for Vlahovic.
I'm so happy you mentioned Diaz, Tommy, because Terry Fleurs from the Football Terrace did a wonderful, wonderful segment on it, and this is why I get annoyed. Because Liverpool wanted him in the summer, and it was 30 million more than what he went for. Then Tottenham showed their card, and there was a leak, whatever, blah blah blah. And then what happened? We went into negotiations with them, and everyone's going, he wants Liverpool. Well, how about you actually put a bid in that's acceptable? So the player himself, Porto announced, Diaz can come and talk to Tottenham. He comes on a plane, talks to Conte, sees the stadium, sees the training ground. Maybe, just maybe, you might be able to win the play over when they see it over. But what we do, we start all this haggling. And what we did is we acted like Liverpool's bitch. Because Liverpool, just like a lion looking for its prey in the jungle, just stayed there in the background, just hovering, waiting, watching all the bartering going on and the deal trying to get done. And as soon as we got to a negotiation that suited Liverpool, hello, we'll take over from here. Wallop, there you go. In they came. Yes, Liverpool had the interest in the player, but I'm sick and tired of hearing big players won't come to Spurs. And all we do is this negotiation. Have it that, listen, Vlahovic, I wanted Vlahovic big time. Did I want Vlahovic at 300 grand a week? Hell fucking no. Not a chance does he warrant that kind of pay to come in as a 21-year-old and then say, do you know what? I deserve more than Harry Kane. I'm this guy. No, I don't want that. People think I just want big names or big signings that cost big money. If a guy's holding Tottenham to ransom at 300 grand a week, I don't want you. and I understand why we didn't go for him. But that extortionate wage deal, that's ridiculous. But I'm sick and tired of hearing these rumours, and then put an official bid that is accepted by the club that allows the player to come and talk to Conte. Because I guarantee if he came and spoke to Conte, wait a minute, Orin, I'm almost finished, brother. Let him come, talk to the club, talk to him. Maybe, just maybe, Antonio Conte, that stadium, that training ground, the thought of probably playing more regular football at Tottenham than he will at Liverpool, may have just done it. But if he talks to the player and he says, no, my heart's set on Liverpool, I get it. I understand it. You want to go play for what is now a much bigger football club. I understand that part. I don't understand. I don't think just because you talk to us, you sign. But put in an official bid so the manager could actually try and get his ideas across to the player. None of this, oh, we're trying, but we just can't. Let the player talk to the club. And if the player turns us down, fine. I won't be as pissed off as I am. But all we do is we haggle that price just so the big boys can come and go, there you go, we'll take over from here, done.
Well, first of all, Diaz couldn't have come to Spurs to see the ground and speak to Conte because he was away on international duty. Second point.
Okay, we'll talk to the manager. Okay, let's not get petty.
Diaz was away on international duty, and Diaz said.
So was Sissoko.
And Diaz said, I would have came to Spurs, but as soon as Liverpool came in for me, I want to go to Liverpool. He wanted to go to Liverpool no matter what.
I think what Brian's...
I know what Brian's saying because Brian's always saying the same thing. Blame the board.
No. I think what he's saying, he wanted to go to Liverpool, but if we put a bid in of 80 million, Porto will accept it, and then he speaks to us first
Spurs put a bid in.
Before his agent goes to tell Liverpool.
Spurs put a bid in and it was accepted. Liverpool are actually paying the same amount of money that Spurs were willing to pay.
No,
the player said no. No, they're not. They are. Go and Google it.
£15 million more in bonuses than Tottenham.
Yes, but that's like what I'm saying
it's
is
a £60 million deal, not
yes.
So you can't say they're paying the same.
The first amount. So obviously,
Liverpool Spurs aren't paying the second amount. Liverpool.
Liverpool
went. That's all.
Yeah, Liverpool went in for that player. They put that price because they knew it had to be more than Spurs. But Diaz wanted to go to Liverpool. He just wanted to. What I'm saying is top players don't want to come to Spurs right now. That's just the bottom line. Okay, in the last 5 years, what top player has Spurs bought into the club who actually wanted to come to Spurs?
Who's been in charge of the
deal? Yes, Daniel Levy's been in charge of the deal. Yeah, and what has he said? What has Daniel Levy said when he first took charge of the club? I just want to end this. I just want to end this.
I'm answering your question. Yeah. We could have got Bruno Fernandes, but we went £10 million below market value.
Yes.
Man United then 6 months later come in paying the £10 million more and they get the player. We could have had him 6 months before. We didn't want to do it because we didn't want to pay the money.
Then Sporting Lisbon upped their price. They kept upping their price because that's what I was reading. Spurs made a bid. Sporting Lisbon said yes. Then they upped their price, and then they said Bruno Fernandes wasn't a steal.
No, they never said yes.
They did say yes.
We didn't pay.
There were negotiations. There were negotiations. The asking price kept increasing. The asking price kept increasing. And the question is, I want to ask is, the whole Levy out and the hatred for the club, the board, is because they don't make bids.
We don't hate the club.
The board. I said the board. You hate the owner.
That's right.
Right. So basically, if you dislike the owner. The owner said that he will only spend money that Tottenham makes that season before. So clearly, Spurs didn't make enough money, and he's trying to build a proper squad and get a rebuild. So the fact of the matter is, like, what Conte comes in and says what he says. If the board sacks him, that's what they'll do. There's no manager who's bigger than the club.
Yeah,
and if Conte tries to be that,
Chris, can you put your last banner up? Chris, can you put your last banner up? Because I think we've gone a little bit off topic.
Yes, we have. Sorry, yes, we have. My fault.
Spurs, Man City, 0-0.
What I would say about the money is that, you know, if we haven't got the amount of money to spend, it doesn't stop him from making himself the highest paid chairman in the league, which, you know, as far as opinions, everyone's got their opinions as well. So people are entitled to their opinions, and
Chris,
that's what makes it quite a good debate.
The fact that we talk about Levy and Enoch every week, every day, every year as a fan base, the fact we talk about them shows there is a big problem with the ownership of Tottenham. If it wasn't discussed to the level it was discussed, it's because there's not a problem. The fact it is discussed so often shows you there is a problem with the owners of Tottenham. And that cannot be denied even by people that defend the board.
I apologise. It's my fault. I got carried away, and I made a promise that I would never ever talk about Libby or anything again.
Can I just say something?
But you have to, because it's a problem.
No, I won't.
Can I just say something? Can I just say where
I'm done
I
with
stand?
it.
Can I just say where I stand on this? Just briefly. Now, Vlahovic and Diaz were never likely options for me, but still, the players that we were targeting in the summer and the ones that we brought in were crazy. Youngster Emerson, Gil, Golini. You can get a better standard of player. You can get something in the middle there. Not Vlahovic. He's the top 3 strikers in the world. One of the top 3 strikers. Diaz is a left winger. We got Son. So the Diaz deal wouldn't have worked for me. It was the same situation as Gil. When we brought Gil in, they were like, oh, he can play number 10. He can play on the right wing. He can play up top. He never started a Premier League game in any of those positions.
I agree. I never wanted to.
So there should be a middle ground. I don't know. Ward-Prowse, Tommy Arsu, Edouard. These would have been better signings than Gil, Emerson, Golini. There's some in the middle ground that are realistic for me. When you finish 6th and when you finish 7th and you employ Nuno as a manager, the players you go for are going to be limited. We've done very well to get Ramiro in. But for me, as I said, the other European clubs, they've done their business early. They got the centre-backs they wanted. And the ones that wanted him didn't have the money. It's as simple as that with Romero. Look, it's great business. Fantastic. That's the sort of middle ground we should be looking at. Not Emerson. Who knew who Emerson was? Who knew who Gil was? They are shocking signings. I'm not gonna lose any sleep about missing out on Vlahovic or Diaz, because Diaz would have been a bad option, like Gil.
He was never.
And Vlahovic was never coming either. But Spurs
that.
fans in January were torturing themselves, saying, "Oh, Vlahovic, why don't you spend the money?" Levy's a twat. I can't stand him, but he's never gonna get Vlahovic or Diaz. It was never likely. There's got to be a next level. What pissed me off the most with Levy is it was the last 2 days again. It was the final 2 days. We lost all the players. Even Gomares.
No, it's Paratici's fault, right? Remember,
we say that we can't attract. Even Gomares from Lyon is a fantastic centre midfielder. We could have got him in as well as Bentancur, but he went to Newcastle. So you can continue. You can get players in January. Centre mids like we did. You should be getting more than one centre midfielder in. And I do agree, Stel, with formation. I do. Formations are important. Yeah, the talent's not there, but we saw it with Chelsea. We saw it with Conte under Chelsea. They started with 4 at the back. They couldn't win any games. They switched to a 3. They started winning games.
Look at the
Chelsea team wasn't great. It wasn't great then. Mourinho was 10th. Mourinho was 10th the season before.
But they were 80% of the way. They were 80% of the way. They just need that extra 20%, which was the manager. Tottenham, we're not 80% of the way.
But formations still make a difference. Formations still make a difference.
Got the players
and what I'm saying.
If you've got the
exactly, that's another thing.
We don't have a back three that are good enough.
But will you agree that 3-5? We look best in a 3-5-2. So I want Spurs to be playing in a 3-5-2. But the transfer business we've done tells me we're only going to play 3-4-3. We've got 4 centre mids. How can we play 3 centre mids?
What I said was when I spoke about formation is I agree that if we play 3-5-2, it will bring us more stability, but will it win us enough games? No, it won't, because the same players will make the same mistake. And why I think we're doing 3-4-3, Tommy, and it's just an opinion, I could be wrong, is because we've only got 4 players that can play in that middle at the moment, right? So we've got Skip, Højbjerg, Bentancur and Winks. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if he plays 3, one's injured, so we've only got 3. If he plays 3 in the middle and one gets injured, we're fucked.
Exactly.
So he's playing with 2 because he's preserving the other one in case one gets injured. So I think he's adapted system based on what he's got. And this goes back to the comments he made. And if translated from Italian like Iggy did, we don't have the squad numbers. It all adds up. I could be wrong on that because the only other reason he'll be playing a 3-4-3 is because that's his future plan. And he's embedding it now. And he's taking the hits because he knows if he gets the players he wants, they will slot into the system and the rest already get the system and boom, off we go. That's a risky ploy, but that's what Klopp did and that's what Pep did when they first went to their clubs and they didn't have very good first seasons. So they're the only 2 reasons he's doing it. But I do agree, a 3-5-2 would be better. Do I think we'll beat more teams by doing it? No. But that's just my opinion. It's just a view.
I think we've looked a lot more better going forward. So, well, I mean, it's only been 2, isn't it? Liverpool and Leicester with the 5 in the middle. But yeah, Tommy's quite right, and Kirst in the chat, we should get back onto Man City. Brian, I'll come to you first because you said before the show that you're going to the game. How many will City score? And is it going to be City who are upset, or is it going to be you and the others in the away stand? What are your thoughts on how the game's going to play?
I said it behind the scenes before we went live. I'm sick and tired of saying that we have to come out fast and we have to start strong and we have to put a foothold on the ball, because we say this every game. And for some reason, apart from Vitesse and Liverpool, I can't think of a game where we've actually come out on the front foot and like really.
Well, Leicester we did away, didn't we? Where we won it in the last second.
Leicester we grew into it. Leicester actually started. I was there. Leicester actually started off stronger at the beginning, but by the end of the first half, we were totally dominant. And again, like you said, that was played in a 5, which I personally think we should do as well. I think it's the only way. Because Stel and I have said recently, or many a times, playing in a 3 up top does not suit Kane. It just does not suit Kane. When he's had his good games, he's been in a 2. Liverpool, Leicester, he was absolutely outstanding, absolutely on fire, incredible. We've just got to keep, because what Man City do, they'll just pass it and just wait for that slip up, and then bang, before we know it, we have just got to stay as strong and coordinated and disciplined for as long as we can. And do you know what? Whatever the score is, like I said, it's the players we've got. It's through no fault of their own. They're either that good or that bad, it's through no fault of their own. Like Stel said at the beginning, it's a quality issue. It is a big time quality issue. And if you look at it, if Man City aren't getting the desired effects that they want in that game, just look at the bench that they'll bring on. Look at the changes they can make to change the game. It's scary for any team in the Premier League. Just after the last 3 Premier League games, I think we can all agree the last place you want to be going to after the last 3 games is the Etihad. It's the last place you want to be going to, without a shadow of a doubt. It's concerning, because obviously if it's 4 defeats, if it is, which unfortunately, let's face it, a lot of people say that they think it will be. I think in agreement, I think the draw is the best we can hope for. If we get a win, it's a miracle. Wouldn't put it past Tottenham, but that would be like, oh my God, how the hell we got away from there? A draw is what we most probably think of. A defeat is, let's face it, more than likely. If you look at it on a betting term or whatever, it will just be the manner of it. I just want to see, I keep saying this before, after a bad run of performances, I want to see a performance. If we put in a great performance and we lose, fair play. Say, do you know what? The boys gave everything they got, or gave everything they could. They tried their goddamn hardest, and the better team won. Simple as that. But if it's another like first half performance against Wolves or second half performance against Southampton, it's going to be a very, very long day for me, and for all of us. But I'm going up there with Ben and Simeon, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
And Tommy, we've got this comment from NC Sports. You have my permission, NC Sports. If that happens to be the case, you can come in here on Monday and just put comments saying "I told you so" all the way through the stream. But Tommy, I know you thought you said earlier you're possibly the minority here, optimistic about the game. Is that a win? Is that a draw? Is that not a battering? What do you make of the? Or is it how we start? Is it the first 20 minutes is absolutely crucial? If we give City encouragement, they'll batter us. If we slow the game down and stifle the game down, you know, the 10 fans in their stadium might get a little bit restless.
Of course.
7 fans in their stadium because Brian, Simeon and Ben are going, so 7 of them.
Well, you know what? Actually, just say that. We get based on the weather as well. Who knows if the game even goes ahead?
Oh, bloody
right now,
mate, this way, I think my shed's just completely blown down.
It's only supposed to last a day, this storm, isn't it? I think I heard over the next weekend, over the weekend, not saying it's going to be as intense as it is right now across the country, but at one point it's got to be a huge concern that if it carries on like it is right now, and I would assume it's getting worse up north as it is to where we are in London, but who knows if the game even goes ahead.
When I was going for a run earlier, I was thinking, no way, that you can't play football in this. But I was basically, it's like Back to the Future. I was going back, like I was like, come on, I'm trying to get to my point. But with the stadium, I suppose that helps it because you got the stadium and it's protects around the side, but still, it's unbelievable. It could get postponed. It could get postponed. It's not out of the realms of possibility. But in terms of the game itself, our record against the top six, other than Man City, is atrocious this season. 3-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, looking on BBC at the weather in Manchester, it's supposed to be like 10 miles an hour, so it should be okay.
And
and
it's Manchester as well, so yeah, up north. But look, Arsenal, we lost 3-1 to Arsenal. We lost to Chelsea twice, including 3-0. Man United, we got destroyed by Man United 3-0. West Ham, we lost. Liverpool, we got a point, but they were, they didn't have their first team anywhere near. So against the top six this season, we struggled. The only team we beat is Man City. But I think, I think we can nick a point. We can nick a point, and if you're drawing going into the last 15, 20 minutes of a game, you can win. You can nick that goal. But the likelihood is that it's very unlikely. I disagree with Brian in the fact that I think if we play deep against Man City with this defense, we're going to lose 8-0 because this defense cannot. There's no organisation. You've got to stick to your strengths, and our strength is attack. So for me, you got to come on the front foot and you got to attack.
I didn't say play deep.
What you said, we've got to try and focus on the defensive side of things.
No, I said 3-5-2. We've got to try and keep a clean sheet for as long as possible. But that I don't mean defensive. We just got to be disciplined. I wouldn't say go defensive. Believe me, with our defense, mate, it's the last thing I'd want to do.
Oh, I thought you when you're saying keep clean. When you're saying it's important that we keep a clean sheet, and I thought you said that on my stream. Yeah. I thought you meant we go into it. We've got to be, a bit more pragmatic, which is fine. You have to be against Man City, but for me, still, we need to go on the front foot. That's our best chance of getting in from the game. The initial game against Man City, we actually done all right, but the difference maker, people are not going to like this. Was Tanganga was fantastic against Sterling. He shut Sterling out, but Lucas, Gundogan, and Fernandinho. The first 15 minutes, we could have given away 3 penalties. Skip wasn't at it. As soon as Lucas in centre midfield started pushing their midfield back, Gundogan, Fernandinho were forced to play deeper. They were not getting on the ball. And then, you started to see something. And it's happened a lot this season with Lucas. It's the fact that we should have a better class winger. He has been key. And our attack, Son and Kane, when they get going, when Son and Kane get going, they're one of their top 4 attack. That's a top 4 attack. Probably the top duo in the Premier League, Kane and Son. So we need to focus on that. And the first 20 minutes of every game is key. But we know you can lose a game in the first 20 minutes. In 18 minutes we lost against Wolves. That game was over in 18 minutes. So I think we can nick it, draw 1-1. I think we're going to concede whatever happens. Maybe we can draw 1-1. Then who knows? Final 10 minutes, who knows? You could nick one.
I mean, Stel, how do you see the game panning out? Do you think Wolves are obviously very good defensively? They conceded 17 goals in the league this season. Man City are obviously going to attack us. They're at home, and that's how they play. So, do you think it will work out? We're generally better against teams that attack us, certainly now, than teams who sit back because we can't break them down. So, do you think it will help? They'll attack and then we can spring I was going to say offside then, counter-attack? Or do you think it's not really going to matter because it's Man City and our defence is making mistakes all over the shop?
I think any team that plays Tottenham with a high press and a possession-based system will just cause us major, major problems. Southampton did it at their ground. We were 1-0 down until they went down to 10 men. Southampton did it at our ground and beat us. Wolves came and did it. They beat us. So for me, Man City play the way Wolves and Southampton do, but 10 times better. So I think we're going to have major, major problems. Having said that, I'm going to be a bit hypocritical here. They've just beaten Sporting Lisbon 5-0. They're flying in the league. I think 13 games unbeaten. Spurs are in a bit of a rut. All signs say 4-5-0 Man City. That's typically when Spurs turn up and do something they're not supposed to, right? And give everyone hope again. It happened at the first game of the season. It happened against Liverpool. We write off our team and they're going to do something crazy. So if we turned up in this game, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Do I think we will? No. And the reason I don't is because of what Tommy said. Tommy said he thinks we should go at them. I totally agree. Because if you can look at the games that teams like Liverpool and Man City have struggled this season, it's when teams have really gone at them. Brighton being one of them. So if we take the game to them, that's where I think we might surprise everyone. But I know we're not going to take it to them because away from home, Conte is always pragmatic, especially in the first half. And Conte never, ever, ever, go back and watch what he did at Chelsea, Inter. He never goes toe-to-toe with teams when he knows they're better. We're going to sit back. We're going to be ultra defensive, probably 5 across the back, 3 in the middle, 2 up top. And in the end, it's going to cost us because in that midfield, they're going to have... I've just got to look at it because there's so many of them. Gundogan, Grealish, De Bruyne, Silva, Foden, Fernandinho, Sterling, Mahrez, Winks, Højbjerg and Bentancur are going to get absolutely peppered. And all the pressure's going to end up on the back line. And if Dyer's not back especially, they're going to get into us. And once they go 1-0 up, it's going to be 2-3 and then hopefully we keep it low. That's what I think will happen. But if we do what Tommy says, I agree. I think something could happen. But I don't think... 1, Conte ever does that, go toe-to-toe with teams that are better than him. And 2, he's not going to do it away from home. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to lose 3-4-0.
Yeah, I mean...
I like what Iggy's put here.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a sec. Orin, what would be your preferred starting lineup and changes that you make from the Wolves game? I'll come to Iggy's comment here. For him, 3-5-2... I don't know who Lavernia is.
I'd love Lavernia. Yeah, Lavernia is an ex-Chelsea academy player.
Really Lavernia.
But 3-5-2, Pierre, Bentancur in midfield, Lucas in the attacking mid-role. I think that means just behind the strikers, Kane and Son up top, Reggie on the left, Lavernia on the right, Rodon, Dyer, Romero at the back. So what would be your lineup, or is that similar to what you do? Certainly as well, the defence, because if Dyer's back, he has to come back in, I think. Regardless of what you think of Dyer, he's a lot better than Sanchez and who else? Rodon's hardly had a sniff under the last 2-3 managers. But yeah, what would be your preferred lineup and changes that you'd make from the Wolves game for this one?
I think the second half, the formation that Conte went to actually suited Spurs a lot better. I mean, Wolves still had a couple of opportunities, but Spurs actually, they couldn't have played worse than they did in the first 20 minutes. But they actually had something more, because Kulusevski played behind Son and Kane almost, and he was, trying to create chances. And I think that the big issue for Spurs, even since Conte took over, is because Kane doesn't drop deep anymore. There's a big gap between Pierre, Winks, and up top. It also means that Song and it's almost Conte, I think, he doesn't play, on paper it's 3-4-3, but I think Conte actually plays a 3-4-2-1 because Kane, Song and Mora look to fill in that gap, but they're not intelligent enough to do that. Mora definitely cuts in. So I think he has to go forward at the back. I don't think this 3 works. It does. You have to have very, very good wing backs who can get up the pitch and defend. And you then have to have 2 really good defensive midfield players who can cover when they, go. So I think Conte maybe has to accept and go, right, we're going to go forward at the back, have Dyer, Romero, Emerson. I know he's been rubbish, but the less crossing he has to do, the more concentration he can get in defending. Go 2 in the middle. I think Pierre and Bentancur, play Kulusevski as a, number 10 kind of player. The reason why is because it will occupy the 2 defensive midfielders from Man City and then have Son and Kane up front. That way it's play through the middle, not relying on crosses, because it's not like Spurs are creating a lot of chances with the crosses anyway. Majority of the Spurs goals have came through slip through balls. Very rarely as you've seen Kane heading the ball or peppered with crosses. So that's what for me, it's like, okay, he doesn't have the players to play the system that he wants, but there is a system that can be played until the summer, until he gets the players in. So I think it's about having Bentancur. Pierre is he doesn't like to get forward. We all know this. He as soon as he gets forward, he panics. So have him just sit back and allow Bentancur to get up the pitch with Kulusevski and whoever else he plays in the midfield. I think that's the way forward. And I think if he sticks to that, so I would say 4-2-2-1 2-2 or something like that. Just stir up that midfield. Forget crossing. Forget wide playing wing backs in. It's just not working, and it's exposed. City will just expose it.
Yeah, Kuva here said 2-2-2-2-2 formation. I'd love to see that on a graphic, but yeah, Stel.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Orin said. Kane does drop deep this season, but just not as often. When he doesn't receive the ball, he drops deep. He did it against Leicester and set up the winning goal for Bergwijn. He does drop deep, but not the way Mourinho forced him back as often. And regarding playing with a back four, I think that's a disaster for Spurs because both Dyer and Sanchez are terrible in a two centre back role. So we have to play with a back three because as much as I think Sanchez is poor, he's better in a back three. And in a back three, Dyer's been actually our best defender this season. So going to a back four, I think, would actually cause us bigger problems.
But what about Dyer with Romero? Sorry, I don't mean with Sanchez. Dyer and Romero in the back three, or in the back four. Sorry, you can have Dyer, Romero, Emerson, and even possibly Davies or Sergio.
I just don't think Dyer plays well in the back two. Whoever he plays next to, he's never ever done it, and I don't. He's never ever done it well. So listen. Try it, but I've never seen... Dyer's just prone to mistakes when he's in a two-man centre-back, especially when both the left and right-back aren't very good defenders. I don't think Reggie's a good defender. I think he's good at going forward. Emerson, I had a big argument with Tommy. I defended Emerson all season, and in the end I said, Tommy, you're right. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Emerson can't defend. He's terrible.
Yeah, I think
he wasn't that bad. He wasn't that. When we had that discussion, he wasn't that bad yet.
I think against Southampton, his awareness and concentration for all three goals was just appalling. And Brian, I said on last week, I think it was on here, I think we've got a real problem at right wing back with Emerson and Doherty not really doing anything. Yep. So in terms of tomorrow, who would you go with at the back? Would you go with a 4 or with a 3? And for right wing back, who would you go with? For me, I think we've got a real problem. I'd go for Tanganga and just say, do what you did last time. And then in the hope that whoever's over there, Sterling, Grealish, Mahrez, whoever, so, oh God, him again. Grealish, he's going to clatter me. And then hope that puts them off their game. That's what I'd do. But again, any of those three have got failings, and City are more than capable of taking advantage of them. So in terms of the formation, 4 at the back or 3 at the back for you, and who would you go as the right wing back?
3. It's got to be 3 at the back. I think it just has to, like Stel said, the great thing with having our back 3 is in a back 4, those 2 of those 3, whenever you put them there, they're very, very liable for a mistake. And if you do make that mistake in a back 4, you're punished immediately. With a back 3, at least there's actually that buffer of that extra person to hopefully be able to mop it up. So I think it has to be a back 3. The biggest thing for me, I will go to the right back, but the biggest thing for me is it has to be 3 in midfield because Harry Winks can't play in a 2. He does a lot better in a 3. If you look at the games, Liverpool, Leicester, and again, I feel it's the same with that buffer because there's that extra person there to mop up should there be anything wrong, and it gives Winks that little bit more freedom to do what he does. So it's a shame that when I talk about formations, it's because I'm saying because we need a buffer for the back 4, we need a buffer for the midfield 2. So I think that's crucial. When it comes to right back, I'm a huge fan of Tanganga. Huge fan of Tanganga. But we've seen recently, not only his form, but his confidence has taken a fucking beating, an absolute battering. And if it's another bad one against Man City, I think it could just literally send him back, like his progression, a long time away. And I see Tanganga as having a bright future at Tottenham, and I really hope it comes true because I'm a huge fan of his. Not so much a right back at the back right of the back 3. Once that back 3 is like we've got the 3 we want, I see him being a huge part in it. Back 4, listen, right back, it's such a tough call. It's such a tough call because one thing I will say Emerson can do, and when he has had good games, it's been his defensive awareness. It has been. If he has had good games, you haven't been talking about, he's got forward and his crosses have been sensational. It's not been that. It's been his defensive. But he seems to have his bad games when it's him on the right and Sanchez next to him. That seems to be like there's a loss in not loss in translation, but a breakdown in communication. So I think it's imperative if Dyer is back and starts, it has to be for me Dyer in the centre, as it has been. Romero gets put to that right, and then it's Emerson. But if Dyer's not in, I would start Doherty, just because Sanchez you would think is going to start, and Sanchez and Emerson, there just seems to be no coordination, no understanding, no relationship between them as a player knowing what each other's doing. And that right-hand side for us and Man City's left side, if that's exposed, like a lot of teams are doing, they're exposing our right side. And if we don't get that right side right, it's with the quality Man City have, like Stel when he mentioned the midfielders, it's just like literally opening the wound, ready for them to rub salt, vinegar, and everything that stings into it. So it'd be a back three. And if Dyer's fit and starts in the centre, I would start Emerson, because Romero will be there on the right. But if Romero starts in the centre, it has to be Doherty for me. Has to be.
Yeah, and Tommy, what would you be doing in terms of the formation there? And in terms of, Brian makes a good point there, teams targeting our right side. So would you maybe put Bergwijn in further forward there? Because he showed, certainly under Mourinho, in those 3 tough games, I think City, it might have been City, it was definitely Chelsea and Liverpool, tracking back and helping the wing back. He was superb at that. More of a kind of, I think, like Stel said, drifts along, and Son does track back, but that's not where you get the best out of Son, whereas Bergwijn is superb at tracking back. So how would you line up tomorrow?
I mean, just as with the back line as a whole, there are so many variables, especially if Dyer's back. There are so many variables, and the reason there are so many variables is because they've been useless. They've been absolutely useless. Yeah. So we're trying to think of new ways that they can actually be useful. But no, that's a brilliant point you made, Chris, about Tanganga at right wing back. Oh, do you know what? I'd certainly be thinking about that. It wasn't just the initial game this season. If you remember last season when Sanchez had that mare, he headbutted the ground. The first half, Tanganga was at right back. Sterling was at left wing. He was all over Sterling. Couldn't get past him in that game either. Yeah, second half, Pep put Sterling on the right, and he destroyed Ben Davies' career in one half. Basically, Sterling against Ben Davies. We knew at that point that he was finished as a left back, Ben Davies. So 2 games, Tanganga's been very good against Sterling. So with that in mind, I might put him at right wing back. One of the things I can't stand is the we need Dyer. We need Dyer. It's a myth. It's an absolute myth. You watch every game we play against the big boys, we've lost with Dyer. Same with Sanchez. He was fine when Conte first started, but look at the teams we played when Conte first started. We were beating Brentford. We were beating Leeds, Norwich. We didn't play a team in the top 11 other than Liverpool for the first 10 games. So he's good. Dyer is good, like most players, when you're playing rubbish teams or average teams. Same as Sanchez. So against the big boys, he always does badly, Dyer. He wasn't there for the 2 Carabao Cup losses to Chelsea, right? It's because of Dyer. It's because of Dyer. Come in for the 3rd Premier League game, useless. As useless as ever. He was there for the Premier League loss to Chelsea. Yeah. But Dyer in himself, everyone's saying Dyer's key. But for me, he's not key. He was there in the Arsenal loss 3-1. He was there for the Man United loss 3-0. He was there for the other loss to Chelsea 3-0. For me, it's an absolute myth. He doesn't do anything against the top 6. And against Man City, if we play deep, like I said earlier, and like Stel agreed with, if we play deep, which Dyer only ever does, we're in trouble. And it's not a coincidence that we lose against the big teams all the time when Dyer's there. Now, the whole team's bad, but Dyer's not a great centre-back, and he's not even key for me. The problem is we don't have any central centre-back that's willing to cover the right centre-back and left centre-back's errors. And
Rodon? Would he come in?
Potentially, even Tanganga. I agree with Brian. I actually really, I'll really rate Tanganga. I really rate Tanganga, and he has had a difficult month. But you look at him; he started as a right back, centre back. Now he's in a back 3. I don't want to make excuses for him, but I really do. I really do rate Tanganga. So yeah, I mean he's brilliant against Man City. So putting him at right, who'd you put at right wing back? I think Emerson's done now. I think you have to put even Doherty in front of him now. I think Emerson's done. Give him another chance if Doherty doesn't do it. But I think, same with Tanganga, I think Emerson's brain's gone. His mind's just gone. Because I've never seen a professional footballer
I think he needs a
play
rest.
as badly as he has.
You were near last
I think his mind needs a rest. Yeah. I think his mind needs a rest. So we're definitely not... Skip's not available, no? Skip's not available.
And that injury is apparently worse than fit.
So-
That's not.
He's
Yeah.
a huge loss, Skip. I
So
think.
Bentancur has to start because he's looked really good since he's been there.
He'll start.
He's looked really, really good since he's been there. Hoy, you have to get Højbjerg back in. You just have to get him back in. In a 3 would be fine. And Iggy mentioned Lucas at number 10 in a 5-3-2. Well, it'll be a 5-2-1-2, wouldn't it? It's a good shout because Lucas only ever plays in the centre. That's his role this season. So he can play as a centre mid, but slightly higher in a 5-3-2. That's a good shout with Son and Kane up top. Yeah. I mean, in defence, there's so many variables. I'm not even going to guess what the defence is going to be. Reggie left wing back and Romero somewhere at centre back. That's it. The rest, you just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of comments coming in. Thanks so much for that. 24 people watching as well, but 10 likes. That doesn't tally up somehow. Hit that up to get more to the 24. That would be amazing. Thank you so much. Here's Bob's lineup. It'd be Lloris, Emerson, Dyer, Romero, Davies, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Benny, Son, Lucas, Kane. And Wayne Bonner has said he'd try Tanganga in midfield to strengthen the defensive side and free up the attacking players. He's so versatile, Tanganga, and I think that's his hindrance. He's never nailed down a position, never trained fully in a position, and he's 23 now, something like that. So he really needs to nail down a position. And even though he might do well in that position, it's another position for him to kind of, try. And Dowell's comment here: we are Rubik's Cube FC. As we kind of wind down here, Stel. I'm always trying to be positive on Spurs, but even they've got me now. So this is the banner for this. Can we get 4th? 5 emojis there, 1 for each goal City score against us tomorrow. Mathematically, absolutely, we can get 4th. But the way that we're playing, and if we carry on playing like that, there's no chance. Even though, generally, towards the end of the season, no team seemingly wants 4th because they keep losing games here and there and everywhere. But for you, 4th. What's your thinking of that? Obviously, those 2 home games were a huge opportunity lost. We could have really cemented our place there. Now we're playing catch up again. But yeah, top 4 for you?
No, I don't see us getting top 4. Can we get top 4? Yes, because we're still in touching distance and there's a long way to go. Lots of games to play. A lot of Spurs fans said after the transfer window, Man United haven't strengthened, Arsenal haven't strengthened.
Yeah, I was one of them, to be fair on that, and it's not done us too much good.
No, but
seemingly
the argument still holds though, Chris, because we did bring in 2 players, although we got rid of 4. Everyone said after the transfer window, it's going to come down to which team in the race gets the most injuries. Now, we're the first to take a blow. We lost Dyer and Skip. So we're the first team straight after the transfer window to take injury blows, and we are that's not the only reason, but it's not helped the current results, the recent results we've got. Man United at some point will endure some injuries. Arsenal at some point will endure some injuries, unless they both get super lucky. So then they will take some hits. It's whether we capitalise. For me, I just don't see us getting top 4 simply because I'm not impressed by the football we're playing. I haven't been impressed since the Champions League final. I think the players have shown now they're not capable. Other than Lloris, Romero, Bentancur, Skip, Son and Kane, other than those 6, no other Spurs player is at the level required. There's some potential, but only those 6 are ready. And I think that it just puts us on the back foot to get top 4. And I'd also add to that, these same players have been letting us down year after year after year after year. And just because Conte's come here, yeah, he's got the manager bounce, just like Jose did, just like Ryan Mason did, just like Nuno did. Nuno was manager of the month, top of the league. It's over. We've gone back to type. The problem is quality, and I said it earlier on. We will get into some kind of a race. We will get in some kind of momentum at some stage, and we'll be talking about, top 4's back on. Look, Arsenal, they've lost Lacazette and Partey, and Man United are wobbling. And then that moment will come, and we'll absolutely fuck it up again, as we've always done for the past 3 years. So I just hope we get top 6, because if we don't get top 6, I don't think Conte's going to be backed. I don't. I just don't think the money will be there, and they're not going to put their hands in their pockets. So for me, top 4's a no. But top 6, I hope so.
Yeah. And Orin, what do you top 4 for us or not? Do you think?
It just all depends if that formation. It never. If Conte can stop, just strengthen up the defense, I think Spurs can go on a good running run, get confidence back into the players. So I think, Spurs can get top 4. And that's it. Yeah, I think Spurs can do it, but it just depends. I think for me tomorrow and the formation Conte plays will defy if they can. If he goes to lose, set up like he did against Chelsea with playing like 4, I think it was 4-4-2, but he played 6 defenders. That's him saying, no, we're not going to get anything. But if he goes and the formation is to attack and try and beat City and try and perform, then I think he still believes it. But I think Spurs can get it, though. Conte has said there's 1% chance of Spurs not getting it. So it depends on what his formation. But I feel that we can. I think Spurs have a good enough squad, and I think they had a good enough squad even before those players left to get top 4 if they were used right in the right way. So I think they can if they're used right, if the players are used right in the right way.
Yeah, and Brian, what do you think? Like, obviously, mathematically, it's fully on for quite a few teams. In reality, top 4, yes or no for you?
No. It's just we've given ourselves when we have the games in hand, and before these 2 defeats, it was I wouldn't say certainty, but everything was in our hands. Everything was in our hands, and it was up for us to be able to take those opportunities. Obviously, 2 home defeats has really put a hamper on this. I mean, this game coming now is just the worst of the worst that could possibly happen. And then these away games we have, you've got to remember, Brighton away, we have a terrible record. Terrible record at Brighton.
And Burnley isn't going to be an easy, because Burnley never give you an easy game regardless of where they are in the league.
Exactly. And then obviously we have the filth at home, and they just need to announce that game because it's just dragging on now. When is this game? This game is going to be so crucial, obviously, with us playing each other, but I'd rather have it sooner rather than like a Manchester City a few years ago with Crouch scoring and that winner takes all. We just need the points on the board, and I just think it's a bridge too far this season. I agree with Stel about going for Europa. For me, if we get Europa, it's progress from last season. It is progress because we're in the Carabao Cup. The Conference League. And that right now is the easier, obviously the easier target to go for. Try and get a run together and get in the Europa League. The main thing I want, like Wayne Bonner says, is the FA Cup. I want a goddamn trophy. So top 4 or trophy.
For people listening, Wayne says, screw top 4, give me the FA Cup. That's what I want this season. Love to win the FA Cup.
Exactly. For me, winning that trophy is more important than the top 4. Yes, the financial rewards, the top 4 and everything, but for these players to get that winning mentality and to know, yes, you can do it and you can get a trophy, we'll just start hopefully breathing some weekend belief into the squad or some belief into the club. For me, I would like I was still and I have been saying it all season, FA Cup or top 4, FA Cup. I want a trophy, and I just think the top 4 is a bridge too far. Listen, if we have the summer that we're meant to be having, and it works, top 4 should be an assurance. Top 4 should be an absolute. With the manager we have, should be right. That is like top 4 spot, pretty much guaranteed. Should. I think just this season, it's a bridge too far, especially like Stel said with injuries as well. Especially if Skip, from what I'm hearing, is longer than first feel. I don't know the extent. It's not out for the rest of the season, but it's not. He'll be back in a week or 2, and we've all realised how much we miss him when he's not been there with Skippy. And
that shows the state of our team as well. We're desperate for, what is he, 19, 20? He's our saviour, which. And Tommy, in terms of top 4 FA Cup, let me go through a few comments first. Bob, we should be going for top 4, more due to the fact that the teams around us are playing plop and we have the firepower that should be able to take advantage, plus having an elite manager. Let's go for it. Tottenham away, I'm not sure if it was Stel or Iggy. Elite managers work with elite players, not our sorry players.
I can tell that's Stel.
Yeah. Audio Artisan, how you doing, buddy? We'll bottle top 4 in the last game. I think that's probably worse than being out of the top 4 already. Iggy makes a good comment as well. I think playing away from home for a while will do the team good. So much anxiety at White Hart Lane that a break may do them good. Until it's mathematically impossible, we keep going, absolutely. And Kirst agrees with that. And then I'm assuming Stel again. I think a break away from football will do our players good. Just stick to Xbox and PlayStation. But Tommy, top 4, FA Cup, both. What do you want? And what's realistic for you?
Give me the title while you're at it. Give me the title. Give me the Premier League title while you're at it. But,
you can only have one of the two or both of the two.
Tommy.
It's so tricky. So difficult because top 4 should give you more longevity because you'll attract a better class of players. So it should give you more longevity to win domestic trophies in the future. But we need something in the cabinet. We need something in the trophy cabinet. So it's really, really tricky. But I don't really get the rhetoric. I don't get the question of we should go for top 4. Of course we should go for top 4. You want to win every game. You're not going to go into a game and say we want to lose. You know.
I think he possibly means there, Bob, focusing on prioritising the top 4.
But do we need to prioritise now? We're out of Europe. Do we need to prioritise now? So we've caught up with our games in hand. Maybe in the FA Cup. But personally, it's really, really tricky. If we'd won an FA Cup like Arsenal winning FA Cups, I'd say top 4. But we're not. And we do need that trophy. But getting back to the reality of finishing the top 4 is largely down to injuries, largely down to the teams around us. If Kane or Son get injured, we're in trouble because we got a relegation for the defence, average centre midfield, but a really, really good attack. So if Kane and Son get injured for, like, say, another month, especially Kane, because our second striker hasn't scored a professional goal, Dane Scarlett, then we're in trouble, especially if we want to play a 2. Because if Kane gets injured, we've got 2 strikers, and none of them are natural strikers. Son's not a natural striker. So
we've got Dane Scarlett, who's played the sum total of
it goes back to the window, doesn't it? It goes back to the window.
Absolutely not taking him out on loan if he's not going to play. Absolute crazy, that is.
It goes back to the window, doesn't it? It goes back to the window. How can we not sign a second striker for 2 windows? Madness. Absolute madness. And I think, personally, Man United or Arsenal have a better end to the season than us. Either one of them, maybe both. So I think we'll do better than West Ham. I can see West Ham's team struggling. They're awful without Declan Rice. Really,
and they've got the Europa League as well, haven't they? So
exactly.
You have no idea. Injuries and fatigue and what have you.
So I don't think we're finishing in the top 4. I said this before, this losing the bad week we had, losing 2 games. So yeah, I think top 6 would be an achievement. Get us the FA Cup would be wonderful as well. I mean, Conte's 2 full seasons for Chelsea, been in the FA Cup final, won 1, lost 1. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. But top 6 would be with this squad. It's not going to be easy. Wolves are in front of us now. Wolves are in front of us. So there are other teams.
As we wind up now. Stel, predictions for the game? I don't do predictions because it's too much tempting fate, but then I don't think Spurs will win, so I can do it this time. I reckon probably 3-1 City. That's me being optimistic because I can quite easily see it a rugby score as well. Predictions for the game in terms of score?
Whenever I predict we're going to get battered, we draw or win. Whenever I predict it's going to be a close game, we lose. And whenever I predict we're going to lose, we win. So wherever I predict is going to be wrong, but this is one game I genuinely think we're going to take a spanking. Only because they're the best team in Europe. Their football is second to none. They've got the best manager in the world. They're top of the league. Their goal difference is sensational. I just feel that once they get 1, it's going to be 2, 3, 4. So sadly, I think we're going to get spanked 3 or 4-0.
Okay, Orin. Yeah, I think Spurs will try and come out and maybe grab a goal, give them one hope, but then City will just, start increasing pressure. Players start to buckle, and it'll be, I think, 3-1. I think Spurs will get a goal. 3-4-1 to Man City.
Yeah, and Brian, obviously you're at the game.
I'm going to split this into 3 ways. Very, very simple. Now, Bob Spur, and I said always, until Bob Spur's back on the stream, I'll always predict what Bob Spur says. He normally goes for 4-1, but when he came out of his coma, he said 3-1 against someone, so I don't know which one I'm going for. So 4-1, 3-1 win for Bob Spur. And then when it comes to me, my heart is saying draw. my head is saying defeat. I'm not doing scores because I never, ever, ever, ever come even close to what the score is, win, draw, or defeat. So I'm just gonna say what I think.
Defeat. Just say defeat then. Just say defeat.
So like I said,
bottle job. I had to give her a score. You got to do it. I always get it wrong.
To be fair, I never usually give a score. This is the first time I've done it. So if you don't want to give a score,
I'm playing my wild card.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, cheers.
I'm playing by Chris Fudger. Played, brother. Played.
Yeah, and
all right,
yeah,
I'll do it. I'll do it for shits and gigs. So if it's a draw, 2-2. If it's a defeat, 3-0. If it's a defeat.
Yeah. And a couple of comments here. Tia Kirst here. Great to see Leeds United partner with her game 2 as well. Big thing that. Very good to see. And Tommy, Iggy, on your kind of wavelength, I feel. Going for an upset. The weather and the storms in the air are telling me this. So with that being said...
we'll be 2-0 up in the 60th minute and it'll get postponed.
Match abandoned.
But yeah, prediction score from you?
Right. So I can never predict a Spurs defeat. I just can't. But the reality is, I think we'll keep it tight for the first 60 minutes. Maybe it'll be 1-1, and then they'll probably expose us and win 2-1 or 3-1. But I think, look, we'll take it to 1-1. We'll take it to 1-1 in the 60th minute, and hopefully we'll hold on. But who knows? If, as I said, if you're drawing going into the last 10 minutes of the game, Man City are going to be nervous. You could bang one, as Bob says, 2-1.
No, I have
well,
to say
Bob's
thanks
gone
for that,
from
Bob.
4-1 to 3-1 now to 2-1 at some point.
Yeah, I was about to say thanks, Bob.
I'll go 2-1.
I just did that whole thing to Bob saying, listen, whilst he's been in his coma and everything, I've been doing 4-1 and 3-1 for him, and then he rocks up with 2-1. Where do I go from there?
Because he's coming out the coma, he's getting his senses back, the brain's working better, you know.
Next season, 4-0 to City, he'll say.
Bergwijn scored a winner. Bergwijn just scored. He nearly scored against Southampton, didn't he? He nearly got that late goal against Southampton. Could you
imagine the scenes if that happened in this game? Bloody hell.
You'd see Brian on the pitch, I think.
I don't know where I'm sitting, if I'm on the first tier, second tier, or third tier. So if I'm on the first tier, maybe. Second and third tier, yeah, I don't fancy my chances.
Well, if you're on the top tier, you'll be on the pitch. It's just everyone might have gone home by the time you get down.
Any tattoo forfeits if we win?
No, listen. I don't make tattoo bets anymore. Unless it's a tattoo I really want. But yeah, there's no other tattoo bet.
Chris,
excellent.
I know you haven't touched on it today, but apparently I was just reading. The club have put another statement out about the Y word.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
They're really pushing it, aren't they?
What is this all about? Sorry, because I've just like Spurs were the lily whites to me. Like, so what's with the Y word? Like, I know it's Yeds, but what is is that bad or good? What's the crack with it?
Have you ever been to a game before, Orin? Like actual match at Spurs?
Yeah, I've been to Wembley, but they weren't singing.
And you never heard them chanting it just for a little bit at all?
No.
Because most games it gets chanted at least once during the match. Yeah.
So what is it? I know Spurs are Jewish. So what is the Yed? Is it bad or good?
I'll let Brian explain his history on this. Is 10 times.
Yeah. This is where the token Jewish person comes into play. Here, this is where the good part comes in.
That's why I did it. That's why I did it.
Right, boys, I've got to go. I've got to run. I need to see if my shed's still up.
Just before you go, Tommy Talks Ball. Where can people find that?
So yeah. Shows that Tommy Talks Ball is my Twitter handle. You can find my YouTube channel, same thing. But before you do, make sure you sub to Chris. It's been a brilliant stream, and I'm going to retweet this because this was it's fantastic. It's good to have divisive views. Yeah. It really is. So thanks for having me. Peace out to everyone, all the guests, all the people in the chat, and if you haven't subscribed to me, Tommy Talks Ball, I've got a channel. Oh yeah, one more thing. I'm doing a preview tonight. I've got a Man City fan on 6:30 for half an hour.
Definitely go to that channel.
So try and check that out. Channel. If you've got a minute, check that out. Peace out, everyone.
Why do it yourself?
Cheers, Tommy.
Come on, you Spurs. He's quite arrogant as well, to be fair.
Oh, well done, Tommy.
We'll see.
Right, cheers, Tommy. Sorry, Brian. We'll have to head off in about 5 minutes, but
sorry.
I'll do the very quick version. The first thing I will say, everything I'm about to say is my opinion. I don't speak for all Jewish people. I don't speak because there's loads of stuff going on about this word, and this is my personal feelings on it. So, Orin, basically, why Jewish or Tottenham Hotspur use the Y word is obviously there are a lot of anti-Semitic chants that are chanted by Chelsea, Millwall, West Ham, and I'm just picking the London teams, but a lot of fans. And because Spurs are predominantly known for being a Jewish support or heavily supported Jewish side, which is technically true, but there are other teams that have got big Jewish followings. Back in the day, when this started becoming a thing, the Spurs, let's say ultras or firm or hardcore, decided to take on this Y word as a term of endearment to say, right, if they're going to slant this at us, we're going to associate ourselves with you and say we're the Yid Army. Now, the word Yid has different connotations depending where you look at it. And it does have, which some people find offensive, like it can be used by non-Jewish people. Right? If someone came up to me and said it, called me a Yid and I didn't know them, I would take it highly offensively.
It's like a racial
I would take it highly offensively. But the way I've been brought up, I embrace it as, like I said, as a coat of arms. Like the Spurs fans have embraced it to help the Jewish supporters. There are other people that went to Jewish schools and they got racially abused by this word being called this as it is. I take no offence. In fact, like I said, I embrace it. And the way I've learned to embrace it as well is, God bless my grandfather, who's no longer with us, but to me, he was the greatest man to walk under God's hot sun. And during the Seder night, which is Passover or Pesach, if you're Jewish, there's a massive service. And during the service, my grandpa just went and let out the biggest Y word in front of 20 to 30 people. So my grandpa embraced it. He fought in the war, but it's come up. It's come up again. This is like the third. What actually happened and what started this whole thing big time was a few years ago, Orin, when David Baddiel, a Jewish guy but a known Chelsea fan, started saying this is a racial slur on my people, but he doesn't say anything about his football team singing Spurs, they're on their way to Auschwitz, and the Hitler slogan is so this is going round and round and round, and it's never going to go away. It's never going to go away, unfortunately. On whatever side you look at it, it's just rearing its ugly head again now. That's where we are now. It's becoming a big thing again since after the Southampton game, wasn't it, when it first? Yeah. So they tried it a few years ago, and that's basically. But like I said, that is my part of how I feel about that word. I know there are other Jewish people I know that find that word offensive and won't say it, but they don't hold offense to people saying it. But yeah, it's just a conversation that is going to keep going round and round and round. You just can't stop 60,000 people like that singing something.
Yeah, so it's never going to change. But like you say, you're not going to. The police aren't going to go around and arrest 60,000 people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Because as I said, it's just I didn't see what the big deal was. I knew it had something to do with Jews, but I never heard that it was kind of offensive or anything. It's so just trying to figure out like why was the media or Spurs releasing statements like what was achieved? They're trying to clean up the act of, because I believe society is going towards they're trying to take away every single word that can be offensive to someone, even if it's not offensive to everyone.
Yeah. Bob said Orin watches in the wall. Bob's watch my in the wall show from a couple of months ago. Go full depth on the Y word.
Right.
It's a shame. I don't know that much about it, to be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. It's just a shame because, like, I don't know if you guys watch Joe Rogan. I know it's maybe off topic, but he got in trouble. He's been in trouble for saying the N word, and I was like, right. In what? First of all, it was 12 years of footage that was edited together for every time he said it, and I was like, right. What is? Is it bad? Like, I understand if the N word is used in an aggressive manner. But still, it's just like, why try and ban a word that has been around for, years and years and years. So I just just wanted to know fully before I gave any thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep away from it. Doesn't look like it's something that should be even worth mentioning.
Like Brian says, it's going to carry on and on and on and on, and the media get involved, so there's no real way of stopping it.
Yeah.
Pretty much we finished there. Thankfully, we didn't have to talk too much about Man City battering us. We had to talk about it a little bit, but thanks to Tommy, obviously, who had to leave a little bit earlier. Go to Tommy Talks Ball on YouTube to check his channel out. His Twitter handle and YouTube link are in the description as well. And then everyone on here as well. All the other 3 guests have got channels as well. So we'll start with Brian. Tottenham on Tour. Where can people find that?
Yeah, just as it's spelt on there on YouTube, it's with me, with Brian Ireland, Adam Clark, and obviously Mr. Danny Kiriakou. Lovely little jive there, still loving it. Yeah, we're on the push to 4,000 at the moment. I think we're 60 away from 4,000. We normally bring out weekly content, but right now it's kind of hard with me being back here and Brian Ireland being there and getting back home in Toronto and getting time zones and getting shows where we're all together. But I will be going back officially. I am officially. There's no extending. There's no nothing unless Bob Spur decides to do something drastic again. I will be going home on March the 6th. So a lot more content, a lot more regular content will be coming out. But the one thing I do want to plug, because we've only got 10 days left. Oh, no, it's a leap year. We've got 11 days left. On 3rd of February, we did a show that's very, very important to us, which is a mental health special. Chris, you were on it.
Yeah.
Stel, we did it, obviously, when we were on Tottenham away. And for the month of February, we are raising money for GoFundMe, via a GoFundMe page, for 2 mental health charities. A charity back home called CAMH, which is for addiction and mental health. And another charity here with the wonderful Tara that came on for suicide, sport against suicide. Well, I think last time I checked, we're currently at $777 that we've good number that actually. It's a jackpot on the fruit machines. So we're trying to raise as much, and we're doing it till the end of February. The link is in our mental health show on Tottenham on Tour, which is the most important thing we're trying to do to help with mental health and addiction, which everyone knows is a huge part of my life. So yeah, find us at Tottenham on Tour.
Excellent. And Stel, Tottenham away, where can people find that?
Yeah, same as what Brian said. It's in the description. Tottenham away. We do a podcast each Monday, which is growing in popularity each week at the moment. It's becoming a really enjoyable podcast for people. So that would be my recommended go-to. Tuesdays we've got 2 Spurs American fans called the United Spurs of America. They do a show on our channel. It's comedy central. It's brilliant. Good entertainment, and they're massive Spurs fans, and they give their perspective from the States. And then every day we've got videos. One of the guys on the show, Iggy, putting out daily talking points, his reflections, his views on it, and they're quite popular too. So yeah, Tottenham away. Like, subscribe, follow everyone else on this panel, and make sure you sign up to Chris's channel. Good show today, Chris.
Yeah, cheers. The shows are only as good as the guests that are on, so that's, and it's been a great show today. And Orin, lastly, where's your channel, Mr. Spurs on?
Yeah, it's
where's your channel, Mr. Spurs on YouTube? I've just said it. Tell us a bit about your channel.
Yeah, it's Orin Ariel, aka Mr. Spurs. So basically, just talk about the games. I haven't done one this week because I'm waiting until tomorrow to do a full analysis of how the tactics and why Spurs lose and the defensive errors they make. So I try to go deep into it as quick as possible. Try to keep it under 14 minutes. But yeah, I just break down everything, because it's easy to say that players are rubbish, but it's like, okay, I try to look at it as an analyst. So that's what I kind of the videos that I do.
Excellent. So yeah, all 4 of my guests, the YouTube channel links and their Twitter handles are all in the description, so there's no excuse. So make sure you go to their YouTube channels, hit the like, hit the subscribe on their videos. And before you do that, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe here. We're on 187 before this stream started today, so it'd be lovely to get to 200 before the end of the weekend. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's been putting stuff in the comments. Great to see Bob in the comments as well. I think everyone will vouch for that. And yeah, apologies, I couldn't read all of them out for people who are listening. But yeah, be back on Monday, regardless of what happens tomorrow, which it could be a brilliant show, a brilliantly entertaining and a positive show. It could be a real down in the dumps one, but we'll end as always with, come on, you Spurs.
Guys.
Thank you so much for watching. For everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!